You want games? Jaguar's got fast 3D 64-bit games. You want slow, flat games? No. Slow is for turtles, flat is for boards, fast and 3D is for games. Jaguar games. So scary you'll cry like a whimpering fool. But you won't feel like a fool because the games won't be flat and slow, flat, slow, flat, slow. Heard enough and get fast and 3D. Games that are now playing, games that are coming soon. Games that get a 10 because they've got a good beat and you can dance to them. You want fast 3D games? Here's an idea. Atari Jaguar, 64 bits, $159. Yeah, $159. Do the math. Let's see what this TV can do.
You know, it's kind of funny. The Atari Jaguar is very divisive, it seems like. And you know what? I think a lot of the people that hate on the Jaguar and, you know, have kind of given it a bad reputation over the years, maybe people that haven't played the system, maybe they had the system in one game or something and got rid of it. But it's not usually the people that had the system and played several games on the system, they have fond memories of the Jaguar. So what I want to do today is just kind of show you my collection, and I want to give you a good idea what the gameplay looks like too. I'm going to show you gameplay, and we're going to kind of take a cruise around the system, give you just a bit of a system overview as well. But we're going to have a lot of fun, so hang out with me, and let's get started on my Atari Jaguar collection. One thing that you cannot deny is just how cool the Atari Jaguar looks, man. I love the design of the console. It's just so cool and it has a lot of 90s attitude, it seems to me like, and it is very nostalgic to me. Looks great on the shelf, looks awesome sitting under your TV. They just did a really fantastic job. I also like the controllers. You know, you got your 3 buttons, your main 3 buttons, then you got your pause and options. Then you have that 12-button keypad below. And that is where your overlays, if the game that you're playing came with overlays, that's where you put the overlay in. And it's just very cool, and that part of it I love when games have the overlays. It just adds to the experience to me. So yeah, man, looks great. Now let's take a look at the back of the system. Okay, so one of the odd things about the console, if you turn it around, you look at the back, of course you got your coax out, and then you have a low-high switch. And that just puts it on whatever channel that corresponds with low and high. I think it's, what is it, 3 and 4 or 2 and 3, something like that. But that's what that switch is for. And then next to it, you have 2 exposed boards. Now that first long one, that is for your audio-video out. It looks different, man. You have this audio-video cable, and it just slides right onto that board, and it works fine. But I do remember noticing that back in the day when I got my Atari Jaguar and, you know, I unboxed it and everything. I do remember that being just really weird to me. You know, it just doesn't look right and it looks unfinished. But you know what? It works fine. It does. And then of course you got your power, where you plug your power adapter in. One of the cool things about the Jaguar though is that it uses the exact same power supply as the Sega Genesis, so you can swap those around. It's exactly the same, so that's kind of cool. Alright, looking at the back of the Atari Jaguar box, you see that it has a 64-bit graphics chip with multiple RISC processors, 16.8 million colors. That's pretty awesome, man. 16-bit digital stereo sound, 3D graphics with fast, realistic animation, yeah, most of the time. High-speed rendering, faster than 850 million pixels per second. It is a powerhouse, man. It really was. Digital interface, you know, and it was made in the United States of America, which I've always kind of thought that was really cool. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the games. Alright, we're going to look at platformers first, and we're going to take a look at Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure. I'm just showing you, some footage just to get a good idea of what it looks like. I really like it on the Jaguar. I've heard people complain that it runs at 30 frames per second. Man, I can't tell it. I've got the Genesis version. It runs at 60 frames per second from what I understand. I can't tell the difference on the frame rate just playing it on a CRT. So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy it. It's just more colorful. There's more details, like the shimmering water in the background. It just looks a lot better, of course, on the Jaguar. So it's a fun game, a lot of fun playing Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure. All right, well, we're going to check out the best, I think, game on the Atari Jaguar, and that's Rayman, of course. What a great game, man. This was so cool to get this cartridge and pop it in and play a game that looks, I mean, almost as good. I think it looks maybe even as good as the PS1 version. And a lot of people think of Rayman on the PS1, but from what I've understood, Rayman was gonna be a system exclusive to the Atari Jaguar, but you know how that went. So I'm glad it wasn't, because more people get to play it, on the PS1. And it's just a great game. It kicked off a great franchise. The colors, everything, the brightness, the vibrance of the game, just a lot of fun. And it does get challenging. Once you get past kind of the first couple parts of the game, it does get pretty rough, but it's so much fun playing it. I don't mind that. I can die over and over again until I get it right or figure it out. So Rayman, one of the best games, I think the best game on the Atari Jaguar, and it's a great game. And it's close, but I think it might be the best game on the Jaguar. So yeah, Rayman. So now let's look at Zool 2. So Zool 2, I think it was an Amiga game, maybe. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, it was ported to the Jaguar, and I actually am glad that it was. I like it. It's different. It is really different. And if you do play this game, which I do recommend you play it, you're going to want to go into the options screen and turn off the momentum, because that makes the game a lot harder, and it could be pretty rough. Trying to stop. There's things all over the screen that are trying to kill you. But it's one of those games again that uses just an incredible color palette. It's just awesome. It's fun, and I would say right here I would probably rank it third, maybe fourth as far as platformers go. But it's worth playing today. It's a lot of fun, and one of the few places you can play Zool 2 is the Atari Jaguar. All right, now let's take a look at Flashback, which is pretty cool. It's a sci-fi cinematic adventure, and there's some platforming in it, so I just kind of put it in this. I don't know what else you would categorize it as, but it's a lot of fun. And from what I understand, I don't have the CD versions of Flashback, which I kind of want to get. I had Flashback on the Sega Genesis, really enjoyed it there. That's a great version too. But from what I understand, the cartridge version and the CD version, Flashback for the Atari Jaguar takes from both. I think some of the cutscenes may be a little bit different. It doesn't have sounds in certain places. It has sounds in certain places that the other ones didn't. I don't know. But it looks fantastic. Of course, again, it's going to have a higher resolution, more colors that you can have on the screen. So I just think it looks incredible, man. I mean, look at this. It looks good. And, I captured this on a CRT TV, so I mean, that looks pretty darn good. All right, so let's move on to our next genre, which is going to be sports games. All right, let's start with Brutal Sports Football. It's a really fun arcade football game, and I don't know that you can't really say it's a football game. It's kind of a combination between soccer and football. You score by getting the ball in your opponent's goal. You could win by outscoring your opponent. You can also win by decapitating enough of your opponent's teammates, the team members, to where they have to just stop playing and you win. So a lot of times, when you're playing this, the real goal is to do that. Just to decapitate your opponent until they can't play any longer and the game is over. And I've never played this two players, and that's unfortunate, because I think that the two-player aspect on this game would just be a blast. It's over the top. There's several weapons and power-ups and power-downs that litter the field, and there's axes, bombs that you can throw. You can hit the turtle, and that'll slow your team down or slow your guy down. Then there's a jackrabbit if you grab it. You can grab a metal shield, and the shield really just punches your opponent and hurts them more. It's just a lot of fun. It's completely chaotic and a blast. Really a blast. It's you can also pass, you can kick. You know, it's a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I picked this one up, and this is fresh nostalgia for me because I did not have this back in the day. Alright, then we're going to go to what I think is the best racing game on the Jaguar, and we're going to look at two racing games today. This one just edges out the other one that we're going to look at. I've covered this before on my channel. It's absolutely amazing. The graphics, sound, the music, everything is excellent, and it's a really great arcade racer. And just a lot of fun. The other thing is like the backgrounds. There's several different locations, and every single location is different, and it just looks amazing. And then there's a night-to-day transition and day-to-night transition, depending on what courses you're on and how long you're racing. But you could start a race in the daylight, and then by the time you end the race, you got your headlights on and you're racing in the dark. It's just a really cool aspect to the game. And I can tell you that if this was an arcade game, man, I'd have been feeding this game quarters. I would have been. It's that good. So Super Burnout, great game. If you ever get a chance to try it, man, totally try it out. Alright, so then we're going to go to the snowboarding game. You can ski, you can snowboard. I haven't played this game much because I popped it in, played it, and realized that I don't really like it. I'm glad I have it in my collection, and you know, I would say it's around a 4 or a 5 out of 10 if I had to score it. The one good thing about it is that it does have good graphics, and you can look here where you're skiing down the hill, snowboarding down the hill. You can see that the background's ahead of you, and those just look incredible. You know, so there's some really good things about the game, but it just hasn't captured my interest at this point. Alright, so the other racing game is Power Drive Rally. This game is a blast. You got a couple of cars to pick from. I always pick the Mini Cooper. And it's an overhead, top-down racer, kind of like RC Pro-Am, and that's how it would control. So if you played RC Pro-Am, this controls that way. There's some really good, I think maybe 2 or 3 really good Neo Geo games that are made like this as well. And it's all pretty much the same concept. This game actually has weather, and it has night and day racing, and you put that controller, that Atari Jaguar controller, to use when you have to hit your headlights and see where you're going at night. So it's pretty sweet. You race around the track. There's some races that you're kind of trying to beat the clock, and then there's other races where they'll put opponents on the track as well. And yeah, it's just fun. There's a lot of different tracks, and you can unlock other cars as you go on. And after each race, you have to go in and repair your car. Any little ding damages your car, and there's several different areas that it can damage. And so you have to go in there, spend money to repair your car. Now, if your car is so damaged that you had to spend too much money to enter the next race, well, then the game's over. So, very cool. And as you're driving, especially at night, you'll see this. So if you start hitting the wall and not doing well, your lights will start blinking out, and they'll eventually go out if you continue to race and hit walls and so forth. But this is a very good game. It's got a battery backup as well, which is really cool. So Power Drive Rally. Alright, now let's check out NBA Jam. NBA Jam on the Atari Jaguar, I think, is the best home version of NBA Jam. It's awesome. And you can see, look at the crowd and just the detail. It's just awesome to me. Scaling characters, of course, and it's got everything that the arcade game had. And it's kind of cool because I think that they used their own soundtrack on this game. So it's different in that way. But it plays fast. The games don't take as long. It really strikes a great balance between difficulty and fun, so, and over-the-top fun. And you're seeing Rodman being used right there. At the end of each quarter, Rodman comes out with a different hair color. So this I can't recommend NBA Jam on the Atari Jaguar more. It's so good, so good. All right, so let's take a look at Troy Aikman's NFL Football. Now this is one game that it's pretty mediocre. There's some cool things about it. I like the bigger sprites. You know, your team characters are bigger. The field looks pretty good, but it just is. There's something weird. It's not as fluid, you know, with the animation. But it's not bad. You know, I would say probably about a 6 out of 10. You know, it's not a game that I plug in and play a lot, I'll tell you that. I'm glad I got it. It's complete in box, so, you know, that's kind of cool. And I had it back in the day, and I actually remembered it being much better. Alright, so let's head on to the next genre, which is fighting games. Okay, so let's talk about Ultra Vortex. Luckily, the Atari Jaguar does have an excellent fighting game, and it is Ultra Vortex. There's another fighting game called Fight for Life, and that actually came with my Jaguar when I recollected it. I purchased one off of eBay, and one of the games that was included was Fight for Life, and that game, man, it was horrible. I played it about 30 seconds before I knew I got to get this out of my collection. It's that bad. It's just terrible to look at, and just not a good game. Luckily, though, we've got Ultra Vortex here. And I missed this one back when I had my original Jaguar before I recollected. And it's too bad, man. I don't know that I would have ever traded my Jaguar off or sold it. I can't remember what I did back then, but I don't know. I might have held it a little bit longer if I had this game. It's a lot of fun. They have annihilations instead of fatalities, but it's the same thing. There's stage annihilations, there's character-specific annihilations, and then there's a way to behead your opponent, and then also a poopality. Yeah, that's right. You can turn your opponent into a pile of poop. And, yeah. And you just looked at that head coming flying out. That's pretty awesome. What a killer game. This game is really good, and the best fighting game on the Atari Jaguar. Alright, now let's talk about Kasumi Ninja. So, as you're looking at it there, this is captured with my camera pointed towards my CRT TV, and I can't believe how well this turned out. It looks amazing. The graphics are good in this game. The backgrounds are good. The problem that I have with the game is the control. You have to hold your C button down and then do the move, and you have to do it just right, and it just seems like you'll try it maybe 30 times, and out of that 30 times you might get it to work 3 times. So and when you're trying that and you're not able to hit your moves, you just get decimated. So it's almost better just to fight straight up and not use your moves. The fatalities are a little easier to pull off, and they are pretty cool. But yeah, I can't recommend this game to anybody who does not have nostalgia for it, or if you're a collector, then I would. But anybody who's not a collector, just wanting to play good games on the Atari Jaguar, I can't recommend Kasumi Ninja. Alright, so let's go to kind of an odd genre where I couldn't find really a specific genre to put the next set of games into. But let's take a look at that. Alright, let's talk about Cybermorph. I like this game, and I don't understand really the hate that it gets. I think it might have to do with a very popular YouTube personality that did a show on it. That's probably where a lot of it comes. But a lot of people who can't stand Cybermorph are people who haven't played the game, honestly. It's a good game. Now there's some downfalls to it, of course. The draw distance isn't great. It can get a little repetitive, and it does get pretty difficult, but there's some really cool things about it too. Like it's an open world. You can go where you want. drive where you want. It's not an on-rail shooter or anything, and there's some very cool weapon power-ups that you can get. I like it. Just, it's a good game, and it was a good packing game in my opinion too. So there you go. I give thumbs up to Cybermorph. All right, now let's talk about one of the best mech games, one of my favorite mech games that I've ever played, and that is Iron Soldier, and it's actually the first mech game I ever played. And what really sets this game apart from other mech games, I guess, is you're in this huge mech, and the entire environment is destructible. You can destroy everything. There's a lot of really good action, great weapons that you can get, and you can change into those weapons just by using the overlay there. Yeah, the missions are cool, and they vary. Sometimes you have to blow up bridges, sometimes you have to blow up a fortress, you know, and get in there and take it out. You pick up weapons and ammo, and you can pick up like health. It'll repair your mech all the way back to new. You're going to fight tanks, choppers, and other mechs as well, and it's just a lot of fun. And there is a code that you can start off the game with all your weapons, and that's not a bad way to play Iron Soldier either. So, Iron Soldier, definitely have to get that if you own an Atari Jaguar. Okay, so now, on the other hand, let's talk about Hover Strike. It's textured maps, and you are in a hovercraft, and if you're going to play this game, just be ready for the frame rate. It can almost make you sick. It's not good. The mechanics of the game and the way the game looks, I like, but that frame rate's pretty tough to get around. You're in a hovercraft, and one of the first things you're going to want to learn is how to brake, because once you start going, it does feel like you're in a hovercraft. Your momentum will take you, and you know, you need to know how to hit the brakes and spin around and fight the enemies that are hammering you, you know, from behind with weapons and missiles, and you know. So it's pretty cool. The cool part about the game is the missions, and they show you, you know, kind of a 3D diagram of what you need to do, what you need to take out for each different mission. You can pick up, of course, missiles, different ammo, fuel, energy, you know. So it really had the potential to be an awesome game, but that frame rate is tough. So that's Hover Strike. Can't recommend it to anybody unless they have nostalgia for it, or, you know, you're a collector. If you're a collector, it's a good game. Alright, one genre that was represented very well on the Atari Jaguar was first-person shooters. And we're going to start this segment off with Alien vs. Predator. I've covered this a lot on my channel. It's a great game. I like it, and I would say it's in my top 5, of course. And if you watch the top 5 Atari Jaguar games, this is in there. It's more of a survival horde type game than it is a first-person shooter. You know, you're in that first-person perspective, but you need to really use your ammo wisely. Find ammo, find weapons that are going to help you. They can swarm you with aliens, and playing the soldier, because you can play 3 different characters. You can be the alien, you can be the predator, or you can be the human soldier. The soldier is the hardest character to use, but I like it the best. And this game, you know, it has some legitimate jump scares in it, where you'll be kind of creeping around the corridors, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you are being chased by an alien. You can go into the air ducts and go to different levels, and you know, each of the characters that you choose have different abilities and different ways of playing the game that really add a lot of replayability to Alien vs. Predator. If you have a Jaguar, you got to have this game just to experience it, and the only place to play this exact game is on the Atari Jaguar. Alright, maybe one of the best games ever on the Atari Jaguar, and that's Wolfenstein. I love this game, and this is the first time that I've really gotten into Wolfenstein. I didn't have it back in the day on the PC, so it didn't really have a lot of nostalgia to me. But I can tell you that this is probably the definitive way to play it from what I understand. And it's got some of the expansions for the PC version kind of mixed in. The graphics are just done very well. It's super fast, super smooth. There's music, there's a background track to it, so it got Doom on that one, because the Doom Jaguar version doesn't have a soundtrack while you're playing. Really a lot of fun, a lot of different weapons, and you can see how this was the predecessor to Doom. So it's a very cool game. I'm really glad that I own it, and that it is in my Atari Jaguar collection. Alright, we're going to finish up on Doom, and there's no other fitting way to do that. This is such a good game. I've covered it way too much on my channel, but you know, it's in my collection, so I wanted to show it off. And it's one of the best home ports of Doom, at least in the 16-bit era, and 32-bit era as well. I would say that the PlayStation 1 version of Doom is better, but this is a great game. And when it was ported to the Jaguar, it came out about a week or two after the 32X version, and this version is better than the 32X version. You get, you don't have a border around your window. The lighting is better. Most of the monsters are present. It's not just front-facing monsters animation. There's infighting with the monsters, so it's a really cool game. I love this game. It's the first time I played Doom, and after playing this, it totally sucked me into first-person shooters. And I just think Doom on the Jaguar is iconic. It was just done so well. And the guys over at id Software they developed this game. They had a big hand in this game. And then this game was used to make other ports. So you can tell too. This game has a lot of TLC in it, and the only thing that's kind of a downfall is it doesn't have music while you're playing. It has music in between levels, and I really think if it had a little more time, they probably could have got music while you're playing. But it also kind of adds to the atmosphere playing without music. So yeah, if you own a Jaguar, of course, this is another one of those games where I say, you have to own it. You have to. Okay, let's look at some shoot 'em ups. And the first one we're going to check out is Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. And all I know about this game is that I am glad that Raiden exists. This is not a good game. It's a pretty bad game. It might be the worst game I own. It definitely is the worst Atari Jaguar game I own. And the bad thing is that it kind of had some potential. The graphics aren't bad. They're really weird, but they're not bad. And just, I don't know, the gameplay, everything about it just isn't good. I can't recommend this game to anybody, unless you're trying to collect a complete library. I did get it complete in box, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's not a good game. But thankfully, we've got Raiden. So everybody knows this game. It's been on almost every system, it seems like. But the Jaguar port is an excellent port of this game. One of the things that I really like about this port is that it does put you, like if you die, you're going to start right where you left off. You don't go way back to a checkpoint and have to play most of the game over again, or most of that section over again. When you die, you start right where you died. The graphics are bright, vibrant, good color. It's a joy to play, it really is. It's a lot of fun, and you can play it with several continues. I believe 8 continues you could bump it up to. And so, you really should be able to clear the game. It certainly does get rough at some points, but man, I really enjoy it. It's become one of my favorite shoot 'em ups. It's not my favorite, but it is on the Atari Jaguar, and I'm glad that I got it. It's a great game. Even having it loose, I'm just happy that I have it. So, yeah, great shoot 'em up, and thank goodness we got it. because it makes up for Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. Alright, so we got a hodgepodge of different genres here, and the first game that we're going to look at is Runer Pinball. It's a really cool, fun video pinball game to play. I'm really glad I found this one. The first table here is kind of like a World War II theme, you know. This is a fantasy video pinball game. It's not going to be like a simulation. And I actually like the fantasy ones a lot better. So, a lot of cool things you can do here, and you can actually send your ball to the right and it would go to a completely other table. Part of the table, I should say. It's the same table, but it'd be the other half. And then there's also the tower table, and this is a lot of fun, man. This theme is really cool to me. I really enjoy it. It would be, you know, kind of like a Devil's Crush pinball game, but I think this one is better. There's more to it. And that's saying a lot, because Devil's Crush is an excellent game. But, yeah, the only place that I know of that you can play Runer Pinball is on the Atari Jaguar, and I'm really glad I found this one. Alright, let's move on to Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder is a really cool game. It's kind of like a, I don't know how to even explain it. It's kind of like a real-time strategy game, I guess. But you're not building or gathering things. You can find rockets and grenades when you destroy one of your enemies' huts, or, you know, their location, their structure, I should say. And it's just really cool. Most of the time your mission is to just destroy your enemy and then destroy, you know, all of his structures. And there's different ways to go about it. It's a lot of fun. Every guy that you lose when you get done and you are successful with your mission, or you fail the mission, it shows kind of a boot hill, and it has gravestones for all the soldiers that you lost, and that continues through the entire game. So you'll see that hill just fill up with gravestones. It's a really fun, addictive game that I'm really glad that I found and was able to play. So I really like my copy of Cannon Fodder, and it was brand new, sealed in the box when I got it. Alright, so the weirdest game that I own is Attack of the Mutant Penguins. This is a very strange game. You know, it would take me forever to kind of tell you all the rules and how to play the game, and this is just a real quick overview of the game. It's a tower defense game. With a tower defense game with a lot of attitude and some really great graphics and just a lot of fun. You know, you blow open chests to get weapons, to spell out the word of whatever the weapon is that you're using, and then you're able to actually attack the penguins, and you have penguins that fight on your side, and then you have the mutant penguins that you're trying to destroy. Really cool game, awesome graphics. It's just so unique. Yeah, I love this game. I got it complete in box, and I got a pretty good deal on it because this game is starting to skyrocket, of course. So Attack of the Mutant Penguins. If you have a Jaguar, man, I recommend this game for sure. Alright, so the next game is one of the best games on the Atari Jaguar. It is a fantastic game. It's called Tempest 2000. I'm sure you've heard of it. Back in the day, the only way to play this would have been on the Atari Jaguar. Of course, there's other ways to play it now. It's on other platforms, and I'm glad that it is, because more people will get a chance to play it, of course. It is a game that I missed out on. I really did not think that this game would appeal to me. I saw some of the screenshots, and I'm just like, I don't know, you know. And then once I was able to trade for this game, I traded with my buddy Ryan over at 123 Gamerman YouTube channel. I traded him for this game, and I got it home, plugged it in, started playing it, and I was addicted, man. That was over. I love this game. It's a fantastic game, fantastic pick-up and play arcade game, and yeah, I can't recommend it enough. And of course, if you own a Jaguar, you've heard of this game, I'm sure. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. I do appreciate it. And I tell you what, if you think that I've earned it, go ahead and give that video a like. If you like the content, if you like this video, and you're not subscribed, you know, consider subscribing. And if you do like it and you want to see more of this type of content, you can always ring that bell for notifications as well. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a great and safe rest of your day.